Provide by being efficient. We've been talking a lot about providing in this course and how to provide. But providing does involve money. Now, maybe the mom provides in your home, and that's okay. But for many of us dads, we do have to provide financially. And if we're going to have food and shelter and give our kids the things that we want to give them, then we do need to make money to provide. I want to introduce to you today Professor Steve Economides. He's going to help give you guys some tips on how to save that hard-earned money.
You know, successful people plan things, and the more you plan, the more you will accomplish. In the realm of groceries, what we talk about is it's not about clipping coupons. We're into being efficient and effective with our time and with our money. So for groceries, the first step is to take stock of what you have in the house, because a lot of people overbuy and buy duplicates of things and then end up throwing them away. That's a waste of money and a waste of time. So I inventory the freezer once a month. Annette inventories the pantry, and we know exactly what we have in stock, and then we know what we need to buy. The second thing we do is we plan our shopping based on what's on sale. So there's a philosophy that says you plan your meals and then you look for the deals. Well, we flip that over and we say, look for the deals first, then plan your meals. And what looking for the deals means is look at the grocery store flyers that come out usually once a week, and you'll notice that there are some items that are the lowest prices of the week. And those are called loss leaders. And if you can plan your meals around those discounted items, which are cut priced by 30 to 70%, and you plan meals around that rather than what you want necessarily, you're going to save the 30 to 70%. And eventually what happens is you become so good at stocking up when things are on sale, you don't look at the ads anymore for what you're going to eat this week, with the exception of produce and fruit. You look at the ads as a merchant ship looking to stock up those things that are the best price ever, and you stick them in your freezer. Then you plan your menu off of what you have in stock. So it's just a progressive strategy. You start first by planning a week's worth of meals and buying what's on sale and planning your menu around those. Eventually, you become so well stocked that you have the things in the freezer and you make your plan out of what's in the freezer. And it works. It worked great. I'll just tell you one thing that happened. We were walking through a store this last week, and they had overstocked on chicken legs. And the manager marked them down to 29 cents a pound. So at that price, that's a super low price. That's lower than the lowest price of the year. We bought 47 pounds of chicken legs. We stuck them in our freezer, and those will be rotated into the menu every few weeks for the next few months. So what we've done is we've locked in that low price, and we'll benefit from that sale for months to come. The poverty mentality is live for today and maybe tomorrow. And people who struggle with poverty don't ever or can't think long term. And so if we're going to break a cycle of poverty or get into the area of wealth, the people who are wealthy make long-term plans. And planning is a key that isn't being taught to our kids. And we've got to be able to teach them to look ahead.
Again, dads, use your hard-earned money smartly. And speaking of smart, that's another thing that we have to provide as dads, is financial smarts. If you act financially smart, you can provide a lot of wisdom to your kids. I'm going to let Steve now talk a little longer.
Come up with a system to teach kids to manage money and make it fun, but make it practical too. Because entitlement programs don't produce significant financial growth in people. They produce dependency. And what we want to produce is independent kids. We want them to be able to stand independent from their parents. So we came up with a system where our kids, even at the youngest age, started doing chores around the house. We created like a false economy. We were going to give them money, but they had to earn it by doing things that we wanted them to do, things that we thought would be beneficial for them, and they had to do it with a good attitude, because attitude drives everything. So we came up with 4 points a day that they could earn. In the morning, it was get up, get dressed, make your bed, eat breakfast without complaining. If you do that, you get your morning point. Then it was chores. Do the chores you're assigned. And even a 3-year-old can do a chore. They can drag a laundry basket to the washing machine. They can empty a dishwasher, the plastic Tupperware and things like that. They can help around the house. So we had chores, and you had to do them with a good attitude and do them completely. And then we had a school point. We homeschooled our kids, but this works even with public school kids. Do your school well, do whatever projects or extracurricular activities well, you get the school point. And then at the end of the day, we had a point called Roundup, which was pick your stuff up, round up what you have, and put it back where it belongs, kind of teaching them orderly thinking and organization. And honestly, our house is not home beautiful. We had 5 kids, but we did try to keep it neat, and it taught the kids to be organized and orderly in their thinking. So if they earned 4 points a day, 5 days a week, that was 20 points. If they came up with a way to earn 2 extra points, they would get double pay. And they had to find 2 things around the house to do that nobody asked them to do. And they wrote it on their time card, and every morning at breakfast, I checked off their time cards. It was Dad leading the way, holding them accountable, teaching them gently, and training them to work and to be diligent in what they did. And then every Sunday, we paid them for what they earned. And at 3 years old, they just earned a few pennies, a few dimes, and they put them into a bank. At 5 years old, we got them a 3-part bank that had give, save, and spend in it. And by the time they were 8 years old, they were earning about $5 a week, and they had 3 paper envelopes where they recorded their income and their expenses. It was an incredible system. It taught them percentages, it taught them adding, subtracting, saving, and it worked. And that worked all the way through the age of 15, because at 16 they got a job, and we took them off of our payday system, and they started managing their own money.
Remember, entitlement promotes dependency. And as dads, we want to promote independency. Make an economy in your home. How you do that is up to you with chores, but make them pay for what they earn and teach them from a young age how to deal with money. Dads, I want to go back to this idea of hard mercy, that we can't provide everything for our kids. If we provide everything, we do spoil them. I want Steve to talk more about this hard mercy concept.
Our son John, his first job was working at a collating factory, and they had a time clock that he punched in on, and they said if you don't punch in, you don't get paid. Now, one day he got so excited about going to work he forgot to punch in. He came home and told Annette, "Mom, I screwed up today. I didn't punch in, so I'm not going to get paid for my day's work." And she was just angry. She said, "That's not fair, And then John looked at her and said, "Mom, when I didn't fill out my time card at home, Dad didn't pay me either." And see, what happened was he realized that we had set up a real life situation at home with the time card and writing down points and all that stuff and how they earn money. And he correlated it to what happened at work. And what happened at work was fair because it was exactly what had happened at home. Whereas if he'd been given money for not doing anything, then the system at work would have been unfair. So he never messed up again. And now because our kids learned these diligent habits at home, when they got jobs, they were always given promotions. They were always called to work extra shift because they were reliable and they knew that hard work produced huge results. So much of our society is the authorities are messing with me. They're the ones who are causing me not to have a job and to because I got this huge student loan. Occupy Wall Street. They're looking at the administration, the people who have worked hard and earned wealth, and looking at them as the enemies rather than as the goal to be someone who is so organized, so well planned, so diligent that they become wealthy. And they're able to give jobs to other people and help them come along that ladder of success. So it's really, we've got to help them take responsibility for their own actions and help them be successful. And little successes come out of learn early by earning a little bit of money and developing this financial strength. And we use this analogy. I was a competitive gymnast all through college. That's how I paid for school. And I got to tell you that I didn't get to NCAA championships because my parents did the weightlifting for me. My parents didn't do the working out. They couldn't do a handstand. They couldn't do a backflip. I did the work. And the correlation is when we give our kids money and we don't teach them to work, when we don't teach them to struggle through saving for a phone or a computer or a car. I mean, those are epic struggles for somebody who's 16, 17, 18 years old. If we give them those things and don't allow them to lift the weights that are necessary to earn that item, we have short-circuited the process and caused them to be dependent on us. And if they're dependent on us, we're doing the weightlifting for them. And they will never be financially strong as long as someone else will pick up the stuff for them. It's basically, you can either do the work yourself or you can hire a concierge. But if you don't have enough money to hire the concierge, you're never going to get anywhere in life. So it's a hard mercy to help our kids struggle through things.
Dads, Real life situations do correlate to the home. As a dad, you can't do all the work for your kid. You have to teach them to struggle, to lift their own weight. And I know for myself, it's hard to watch your kids struggle. It's a hard mercy. But that's part of providing. You have to provide for your kids, but you have to let them struggle as well. Next up, we're going to talk a little more about finances. So stay tuned.